I didn't want to go to college, and the Navy gave me the better job opportunity. Plane had problems, so we ran off the runway and we ended up in St. Johns River.
My producer in the background realized that the camera wasn't running.
Yes.
And it didn't go out right.
Right.
So no one's ever going to know how good the first one was because we threw down. It was dynamite.
Yeah.
I want to welcome you again, Jabbar, for being a part of this podcast. Getting up early in the morning to come in here, like as if you have someplace to go.
Right.
But you don't.
Right.
So tell me, Jabbar, where were you born?
I was born in Mobile, Alabama.
Okay. And you lived there?
I lived there since I was born. I left in 1990, joined the Navy, U.S. Navy, yeah.
And then, with me, did you have any particular reason why you would decide to join the Navy?
I didn't want to go to college. The Navy gave me the better job opportunity to do something, and that's what I did.
Did you feel like, were you a pretty good student in school? Or?
Yeah, a pretty good student. It just, I don't think, at that time, college wasn't for me.
Okay.
And I didn't want to force myself to do anything that I knew I wasn't going to succeed in.
Well, I mean, you were raised by your mother, right?
Yes.
And how did she feel about that?
She agreed with me. She agreed.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, she agreed. Because I kind of told her once I joined the Navy, I get my direction. And actually, when I was in the military, I actually went back to school and got my degree.
Oh, you did?
Yes, electrical engineering, yes.
All right. So after you got out of?
No, I was in the Navy.
In the Navy and you got it. You were able to study while you were in the Navy. How long did it take?
2.5 years. 2.5 years, yeah.
So you're one of those Brady brothers.
Nah, not really.
So you knew that but you told me that you were also interested in sports as a kid.
Yes.
And what sport did you like?
Football. I was a football guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were telling me how you used to run under these cats and make them fly all over the field.
Yeah, I did a little Lynn Swan impressions. Yeah. That was my idol, Lynn Swan, from Pittsburgh.
Is that right?
Yeah. I'm a Steelers.
Okay.
All my friends, they decided to go to school, and I just figured out that school wasn't for me, and I had a group of friends that decided to take the ASVAB test. We took the ASVAB test and we all scored good. So they presented us with different jobs, and I think I had like 19 guys that I graduated with it, joined the military at the same time.
Are you still close with them?
Yes. Is
that right?
Yes.
That's something I kind of wanted when I was in the service. I don't know any of the guys that I went to service with. That's a nice thing.
Yeah.
But I think that's something also too that's unique to the South.
Right. Yeah.
People tend to be a little bit more united and tighter there.
Correct.
What were you doing while you were in the service?
I was an aviation electrician in the service, and my last station was Mayport, Florida. And after that, I was working for IBM, so I decided I wanted to get out the military and go full-time with IBM, so that's what I did.
While you were in the service, you worked for IBM?
Yes, part-time.
How does that work?
Well,
you mean after your regular job?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was on a night shift for military, and in the daytime I worked part-time IBM. Yes.
Doing what?
I was a network technician, and that way we go to different events like fishing events, U.S. Opens, and tennis tournaments, and all that good stuff as far as doing the network. And you ever see the U.S. Open when they have like the IBM clocks? I controlled all that. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So while you were there, they were paying you, of course.
Yes.
Was it more than you got in the service?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Had you not had a chance to do that with IBM, do you think you would have stayed in the service longer?
No, because I think I was ready to get out. I was ready to get out and try something different. So that was the best way. And it was at my end of my enlistment, I just decided to get out, even though they wanted me to stay in, but I didn't think that was the best idea for me. So I wanted to try something.
Did you let them know that you were going to get out, or did you let them think that you were going to stay in?
No. I gave them. I let them know that I was at the end of my enlistment. I was planning on getting out. So it wasn't any rough.
You made it up to E what?
E5.
E5. Okay.
I made E5 in 4 years, and at that point in time, that it was hard to get a promotion because we were overmanned with E5s, and so I think I stayed E5 until I got out 11 years. And that's one of the reasons I don't think it was a chance for me to get actually first class. So I would have to cross-rate to another position.
In order to become first class.
Right, and I didn't want to do that, so I just got out.
All right, good. And have you ever regretted getting out?
No. I didn't regret it.
Look, I like the way you sparked up there.
No, I don't regret
Not
it.
one single bit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So then you got out. Then what did you do when you got out of service?
When I got out of service, I went full-time with IBM, and that's when I was full-time with IBM, and I decided to move back to Alabama. So I left IBM and started working with Honeywell in Alabama, and I did that for 2 or 3 years. Then I went back into the aviation field. In Alabama, we have a big aviation employment, so I just went back to aviation. I did electrical aviation for 8 years after I got out.
Right. And is that what you're still doing now?
No, actually, I'm doing, we would call it marine work, marine electrical work.
Okay, meaning what?
Well, my company build ships for the Navy, and I started off as a basic electrician as far as wiring, connecting panels and everything, and now I've been 15 years, I've got to the point now where I travel and fix problems as the boat deploys around the world.
Okay, so you post
delivery.
Post delivery, okay.
Yes.
So you come to do that all over the place.
Yes.
So what kind of places do you go to?
I've been to Europe. Majority of my time was like Singapore and different little like Thailand, and Japan is my first time back to Japan in 30 years.
It's because you were here in the Navy.
Yeah, I was here in the Navy. Yes.
How long were you here?
I was here since 1991 to 1994.
Okay, so you're here 3 years. Wow, did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a culture shock. So I was 18 years old. It was something totally different. Whereas my first time away from home, and my first duty station was overseas.
What? You were never? When you say home, you mean the United States?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, from the United States. Japan was my first duty station, and normally when a person joins the military, their first duty station wouldn't be overseas.
Right.
So that was a big difference, big change in
What were
life.
some of the things that struck you when you first came here that you thought, wow?
The food.
Okay.
The food is one of the places where they drive on the opposite side of the street and all that stuff right there. Had to adapt to all that.
Okay. Right. And with some other things that you found interesting being over here? First of all, as a person of color.
Yes.
What was it like for you?
Well, being a person of color, I think the Japanese people back then, they were very interested in getting to know the culture of African American.
So it wasn't a negative experience?
No negative. Nothing was negative. Yes.
Is that right?
I enjoyed my time here. I tried to re-enlist here and stay here, but at that point in time, they only allowed you to do 3 years, and you had to go back to the States.
Wait, were you single?
Yes, I was single.
Okay.
Yes.
So in the Navy, you get 3 years?
Over here,
I thought
overseas.
it was 2 years.
No, it was 3. I think
Okay,
it's
3.
2 years now. I think.
It was 2 years when I was in too, and I was in before you.
Oh.
For the Air Force, anyway, you had if you're single, you had to have at least 2 years. Maybe you could extend. I don't know, but you had to have 2 years. If you were married, you had to be here 3 or 4.
Okay, no, I was single. That back then, I don't know if it was something totally. I don't know if it was a Japan thing, but there was a lot of guys that was actually here for a long time. And when I was up for orders, and after my 3 years, I put Japan, and ended up in Jacksonville. So at least it was a J.
That's how they spelled. That's how they spelled Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Japan.
Yeah.
So you got right back home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when you got out, and you got the job that you have right now. What do you like about this job?
I like this job here. I get a chance to see different cultures and see different places, and the traveling is what I enjoy, and the people I work with.
I hear you had an accident.
Yes.
You were actually you're a survivor of a plane crash.
Yes.
Now that I'm going to make sure I put up so everyone can see it, because that's on the internet. So tell me what happened. Wow.
We took a job over in Cuba, and on the way back from Cuba, we was trying to make it back to Norfolk, Virginia, and we had to land in Jacksonville. And we tried to land in Jacksonville, and that's when everything went haywire.
Come on, walk me through it. I've got time.
Well, it was a storming. It was raining, and I guess the weather with the aircraft caused problems, and we got ready to land. And when we land, plane had problems, so we ran off the runway, and we ended up in St. Johns River in Jacksonville, Florida.
Well, how were the people react? I mean, the reason why I'm asking how the people were reacting on the plane in the States, because I was in a situation here in Japan. No one made a sound.
Oh.
I was in a situation where the plane, because of high winds, the plane couldn't land, and it kept on going like this, and everything, we kept on doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
The only thing that made me think we were going to crash, the flight attendant started crying, facing me. Now I know they've been on the plane a lot longer than me, and when that woman started crying, I said, "Uh-oh."
Yeah.
And I thought about writing a letter and swallowing it, you know, because I've heard of people doing that before. But I said, "No, that means I think I don't want to leave this place."
Yeah.
And the pilot wouldn't say anything to anybody.
Oh.
So after about the third attempt of trying to land, and our plane going like this and then pulling back up, and we're right by the ocean, I just knew that's where we're going to land. I said, "Okay, this guy's going to say something. I'm going to storm that door and take control of my," you know, I just, that was bad.
Right.
But no one peeped. All Japanese in the plane. No one said a thing. This is just throughout Japan. No one said a word.
Well,
I saw people that were upset, but no one said anything. They would go, "Huh," like that, and that was about it.
No.
So what was yours like?
My situation, we after we tried to land, that's when everybody knew something was wrong, and that's when all hell broke out. And,
Well, like what?
the oxygen mask dropped, and we went off the runway into the gravel. When you start going into the gravel, that's when you know you're not supposed to be there. And I was at a point where I was looking at the engine, and I saw we wasn't slowing down. The plane never slowed down when we landed, and that's how we ended up in the water. Yeah.
And then what'd you do?
My first reaction was to hurry up and get off the airplane. That's when I noticed we was in the water, and that's when I kind of panicked.
Right. But you told me that something happened to the plane too.
Yeah, the plane depressurized,
Right.
which means the fuselage cracked while we were in it.
Did you see where it was cracked? Could
No,
you see
we
it?
only can hear it and
You could
feel
hear
the
it.
pressure. Yeah,
And then you felt the pressure right
yeah,
away.
feel the pressure. Yeah, yeah.
So how'd you get out the plane?
I jumped on the wing. Majority of the people hit the emergency slide, and some people went off on the port. Well, I don't call it port side on the airplanes, but the left side and the right side.
Right.
And some people went out on the right side, and their slide worked correctly. And on my slide didn't work, so we had to wait for a tugboat to come and get us.
Where'd you wait?
On the wing. We got off the plane, and everybody stood on the wing.
Was it raining?
It was raining. It was storming. Yes. Yeah, it was 143 people. And no one died.
No one died.
But we had animals that was in the cargo bay. Those animals, they didn't
They
make
perished because
it.
it was in the water.
We was in the water, yeah.
Actually submerged, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So what was it like in the plane, though? I mean, what kind of motion? I'm just curious.
Well, the motion is the way we went. If you didn't have your seatbelt on, you would be tossing around the airplane. But look, everybody had their seatbelts on.
Right.
Yeah.
Did they tell you to tuck your head down, all that stuff?
No, we didn't. I don't remember hearing any of that. No, I don't remember hearing any of that.
Did you put the oxygen thing on?
We was on the ground, so they fell out because of the impact.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So after that, they fell out, and we didn't need it because we was already on the ground. So we were in the water and at the ground. But they did fall out. I guess that's what they supposed to do when the plane depressurized.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about the noise? Were people just really screaming?
Yeah, it was very hectic. Very hectic.
So how'd you handle yourself? I mean, were they pushing you or anything like that? Or?
No, we had it was a master chief on board and a commander, a captain. So they kind of took control of the situation, and they were directing people. Yeah,
and they listened to them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So how long did you have to be on that wing?
I think it was maybe an hour. We had stayed on the wing for an hour.
How did it feel?
After I was on the wing and I saw the plane wasn't going to sink, I started getting relief. But after I got on the tugboat and I looked back, that's when everything hit me. Well, you know, I got emotional because that was that could have been it. Yeah.
How's your mother doing, by the way?
She's wonderful. Yeah.
She's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can give her a shout out, man.
Hello, Miss Diva Pettaway.
All right. What about for your wife?
Hello, Miss Shanavia Pettaway.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. You got to do that. Ron.
I think also the flight was a government flight too.
Yeah, it was.
That's why it wasn't so hectic. It was a government flight.
Yeah.
Meaning, so mostly military personnel were on it.
We're correct.
You're not supposed to be in Cuba visiting.
Yeah.
Ah.
It was a government flight. Yes.
Okay. Wow. So that made it a whole lot different.
Yeah, that's why I say the captain on board, not the captain, it was captain in the Navy and it was a master chief.
Okay.
They took control because half the people on there were actually military.
Right. What about the people flying it?
Probably not allowed to say what they did, but
okay.
it was...
Were they military by any chance?
No, they were, people were flying it was a military contract.
Okie dokie. But you're not anymore.
No. No.
I bet you're not in the military contract anymore.
No.
Wow. Did you get to see them?
No. Actually...
Nobody got to see them because everybody said they wanted to see them.
Yeah. Nobody had to see them. So after all that, I think I forgot what they call it, FAA, they came and they immediately took them off and interviewed them. So.
But did you get to see a picture of them ever? Did they put a picture in the pilots? Yeah. They didn't showcase them in the.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Because Sean showed me the picture.
Yeah.
The other day, so I can get that. Put that up. And how long did it take for you to get back to the? I'll get on the plane again.
Still, I still have a problem with it. My problem situation is the landing and taking off, and if we hit turbulence, it's like it's a feeling I can't describe, but it's a frightening feeling. Yeah.
How many years ago was that it happened?
This year be 3 years. May the 5th.
It's pretty recent.
May the 3rd will be 3 years.
Wow. So that news doesn't get here.
No.
I would never, we wouldn't hear because that's just what happens in the U.S. That's U.S. news. But I'm sure it went throughout the whole U.S.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So did people? I mean, how did your family and relatives respond when they found out that they knew you were on the plane? Did anybody know you were on it?
My wife knew, but I think my dad might have known that I was on it. I only told one person. I called my wife first, and once everything cleared up, I had to drive from Jacksonville, Florida to Tallahassee.
How far is that? How many hours?
It's probably 2 hours.
Okay.
And she met me in Tallahassee to drive the rate. It was a rental car, so she met me in Tallahassee and drove back.
How was that meeting? Would you?
It was intense because she was very nervous about it.
I can imagine.
Right.
She was imagining her life without you in it, and just
right.
And you imagine yourself not being here,
right?
Seeing that light at the end of the tunnel. And
right.
What's that like?
This point now, I'm not used to it. That's something you'll never get over.
I can imagine.
Once you get on the airplane, that's always in the back of your mind.
So you've had a hard time getting over that. What do you try to do to cope with it then? Do you meditate or anything, or do you get drunk before you get on a flight, or?
No, actually I pray every time.
So tell me, what are your plans like for the future? Because you're enjoying your job right now. How many years have you had with this company?
15 years. 15? This year will be 15 years.
Do they have a limit, like an age limit? Or?
No.
As long as you can perform.
Yeah. As long as you perform, and you can do it. Yeah.
So how long do you see yourself doing it?
I can do it forever.
Okay.
But it depends on
what happens and the situation sets up. What do you do for leisure?
Leisure, I renovate and buy property and fix them up and rent them out. So that's like a second passion that I have.
Do you have properties right now?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
So you enjoy doing that. So you're creating your passive income.
Right.
Do you have children?
Yes, I have a daughter. She's 31, and I have a son that's 24.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And your daughter's where?
In Mobile, Alabama.
Right.
My son is in Jacksonville, Florida.
Right. She loves it there. Is she married or
No, she's not married. She works. Actually, she works for a shipyard also.
Is that right?
Yes, she works for a shipyard in Mississippi.
Like they say, like father, like daughter.
Right.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's good.
Correct.
Okay. What would you like to leave us with? What kind of ideas, words, or?
Well, I can say I enjoyed, the conversation we had previously.
That was really nice.
Yes.
I think everyone should know that I met you here at the hotel because you're a captive of the hotel, and I have privileges to come on. I'm very fortunate to have that. And we sat down and started talking. Well, actually, he's sitting over there, he was by himself, and I saw him and I said, okay, there's a guy by himself. But I didn't think about doing the podcast. I saw you and I said, let's talk. Because I couldn't go into the casino.
Correct.
It was closed, so I couldn't go in there. So I sat down talking and hit it off. This is a good brother. This is good. And we did, and I tried to get your friends to be on the podcast too, but no, they'd rather do what they do better, like supervise and be a producer. That's what they're doing. It's still running, right?
Yes, sir.
That's what I'm talking about. That's good. Well, I want to thank you. I really do, Jabbar, for taking the time to do this. You
Yes,
made
sir.
my day, man.
Yes, sir.
I
Same.
really appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Ron, for being in the background and taking care of my production here. I want to thank all of you out there for watching this podcast. Make sure you subscribe, press like, and never forget, it's all unknown. Continue to reach for the stars, and you're too blessed to be stressed.